How's it going, guys? Today, we're going to be talking about the highly significant and influential play, Beowulf. Let's get into it. To keep the summary short, the play is basically about our main character, Beowulf, who goes to England and is hired by the king to slay one monster named Grendel. In doing this, he has to fight Grendel's mother, and this transitions into him fighting with the dragon to keep the kingdom he received from King Hrothgar safe. Oh, and did I mention that Beowulf is very strong? Like, Terminator strong. In fact, he's so strong that when he fought Grendel the demon, bare-handed, he ripped off his arm with brute force. Personally, I'm a big fan of Beowulf's character. He's noble, strong, and the type of king one would want ruling their kingdom because he cares about his people. But on the other hand, there are some very cheesy parts about him, like when Beowulf's telling the story about how he casually lost a swimming competition while he was dressed in full armor. And it's okay, if it weren't for the couple of sea monsters he had to kill along the way, he would have won the competition for sure. Although, this is a fairly old story, so one has to take into account the time period that this was written in, so what's cheesy to us now may not have been as cheesy to people back then. Some people might have found this story very interesting or intriguing. And I'm sure, as y'all can tell, I don't think this book is perfect. My least favorite parts were when the story would stop progressing to go into detailed backstories about a certain sword or some accomplishment a king may have made many years ago. On the other hand, the book does become very entertaining when the battles with monsters begin, and the gruesome descriptions only add to the entertainment. For example, he howled threats at those huddled survivors, promised to axe their bodies open when dawn broke, and dangle them from gallows to feed the birds. If it weren't for the excellent ending after the climactic battle with the dragon, and the age of the story itself, then I'd label the book as just mediocre. But considering these things, I'd give it a 7.5 out of 10, as in, it's pretty good, but it's definitely not mind-blowing, at least in my opinion. If someone were to ask me whether this book deserves its literary merit or not, I'd say yes, even though there are some parts that have me questioning it, like the fight with Grendel's mother, where the only weapon capable of harming her is conveniently placed in her lair, ready to be used by our mighty hero Beowulf to slay her. But really, this story all comes down to time period, because back then, this story may be considered brilliant, and even to some today, it may still be considered brilliant. So I'm just thinking in the mind of another individual who may have read it back then, so that's why I believe that deserves its literary merit. Something that personally interested me was its influence on many works today, such as The Hobbit and my favorite video game Skyrim. Only if Beowulf was Dragonborn, then I'd definitely rate this book a solid 10 out of 10. Possibly the most important quote of the book is when Beowulf says, "Fate goes, ever as fate must." And the reason I believe this is because after every battle, Beowulf thanks God for his tremendous strength, and at his death, Beowulf accepts his fate and dies peacefully while looking at the treasure he won for his kingdom. He isn't mad that he didn't get the chance to father kids, because he believed that it was the God's will to have him die in this sort of manner. So, in conclusion, if you're a fan of any works such as The Hobbit, A Song of Ice and Fire, or any type of medieval fantasy genre, then I'd highly recommend Beowulf, so that one can see the significance this story had on the genre itself and enjoy some awesome monster fights. Have a good day, guys.